Hi, my name is Rebecca and welcome to my channel. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely enjoying my summer. It is hot, not gonna lie, it is hotter than blue blazes, but it is absolutely so much fun. And what I enjoy about the summertime is gardening. I am very busy and so I don't have time to keep up with a large garden, but at the very back of my property and kind of hidden away so that I don't really irritate my neighbors in the middle of suburbia, and I have a hillbilly garden, and I can't even pretend that it's not a hillbilly garden. It is, but it is producing like crazy, and I have had some fried zucchini, fried green tomatoes, and okra, and it is got all my favorite vegetables in it, and we have just ate out of this garden. So when I get home from work, I go out there and I tend to it and I water it, and it is just something that is a little bit of a stress reliever for me, and it is not big, it is small. It is something that I do to just kind of turn my mind off and reprogram and kind of decompress. So I don't really do a whole lot to entertain myself as far as like relaxation. I'm kind of a little bit high strung. So this is what I kind of do to get myself, reprogrammed out of work mode and into home mode. And so anyway, I thought that maybe I needed to get myself a little bit of jazzing up this little hillbilly garden. So come craft with me. I'll show you what I did. In the summer toy section of the Dollar Tree, I found these children's toys. I thought they were adorable, so I took them outside and I gave them 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum spray paint. While that was drying, I had bought this wooden blank decor sign at the Dollar Tree. And so I had 2 holes, of course, at the end where the little hanger was, and I wanted to put 2 matching holes on either side. So I had picked up this drill on Temu. It was $6.98. I did not know how well it would work. I was shocked. It worked amazingly well. It came with 2 drill bits. I used the largest bit, and it went right through this little wooden plank, just like butter. I thought it was an absolute steal for $6.98. So I put 2 holes at the other end of this little wooden decor piece that I'd bought at Dollar Tree. So I put the 2 holes in, and then I was ready to kind of put my little sign together. I used Waverly chalk paint in white, and then I just kind of dry brushed with a sponge, just dry brush some paint on. I did not want to be necessarily full coverage. I just wanted just some white paint to cover this little wooden sign. I knew my sign was going to hang outside and it was going to be weathered anyway, so I wasn't going to be really precise with everything. So if you're going to hang this inside or you want a more finished look, then you could just maybe put a couple more coats on it and have whatever look you wanted. But I knew that this was going to be outside and it was going to be in the elements, so I wasn't going to put a full coverage on here, and I did kind of like the looks of the wood, the natural wood coming through and just poking through. So I just gave it a little bit of a dry brush and just kind of coated this little wooden decor piece with my Waverly chalk and white. And I thought it kind of brightened up the natural wood. I did go over the edges and I did do the back because I do like things to look finished and I don't like things to look really unfortunate when they're hanging from the back side, and I knew that this would be hanging and could be seen from every different direction, so I did do both the front and the back of this little wooden plank, and then I did pay attention to the all 4 of the edges as well. So I just kind of went over it with my chalk paint and kind of just brushed a little bit on, and but I just didn't want a really precise coverage on this. And I kind of like it when the natural wood comes through and it kind of gives it not really a primitive look, but it just gives it a little bit of a unfinished look. I do like my things to look crafted and handmade and not necessarily store-bought. I have bought these craft shapes at the Dollar Tree. They were in the spring section, but not every Dollar Tree stocks the same way, and so some of the Dollar Trees in my area still have a very good spring selection still out. So I had chose the colors of ballet slipper, scallion, and elephant, and then with a very fine brush I just went over the detail pieces of these craft shapes and decided what colors I wanted where with, and just painted these little craft shapes. One was a flower pot, a wheelbarrow, and a watering can with what colors I wanted. Whatever colors you want, you could just paint your own. And those were the colors that I had on hand, and that was what I chose. So I figured out a long time ago that it's easier to lay a piece of tape down and put my little pieces on top of a piece of tape, and then they don't scoot all around the table while I'm trying to paint them. I did put 2 coats of paint on the little craft shapes because I did, when I glued them onto my sign, want them to pop out, and I didn't want them to blend in. So in dealing with pastels, sometimes they kind of tend to blend in with the background or kind of become washed out. So I did put 2 coats of paint because I did want them to kind of have a little bit more definition and kind of pop out against the white and look like they actually, had some reason for being there. So anyway, I have bought these poster stickers at Dollar Tree. I thought the font was absolutely delightful, and it was just a charming font. And so I picked out the letters that I wanted, and of course you only get one letter on each poster, so if you need 2 E's or something, you're going to have to buy 2 sets of these, but that's a little hampering sometimes. But anyway, it is $1.25, so it's a good deal anyway. So I just kind of picked out the letters that I wanted, and then kind of touched them to the sign. I didn't, of course, position them. I just at this point was kind of picking out the letters because they're just scattered all over the place, and so it was a little bit kind of hard to find the letters that I wanted to begin with. And then I wasn't really sure where I wanted the letters to be, and so I kind of wanted to play around with it, so I just kind of touched the bottom to it and left the little tops up. And because I kind of had in my mind where I thought I wanted them to be, but I wasn't quite sure. And so I just kind of played around with it until I got my positioning exactly where I wanted it to go, and my spacing was correct, and then I could put it into a more permanent position. But I really probably should measure, but I tend to eyeball things probably a lot more than what I should. But I don't know. If you feel better measuring and doing all that, then you do you, and I just kind of sometimes like to make things a little bit complicated. And so anyhow, that is how I chose to do it. And then when I had my positioning all where I wanted it to be, then I took and made sure everything was, down more permanently. I hot glued my little pieces where I wanted them to go, and then when everything was all nice and secured down, I took some Mod Podge. I get my Mod Podge. Generally speaking, I get my Mod Podge at Dollar Tree, and I just went over the entire thing and sealed it really good. And I did put 2 coats of Mod Podge because I knew that this would be hanging out in the sun. And I kind of did things a little backwards here, but anyway, so that's kind of how I do things occasionally. But I did put 2 coats. I did let it dry, and then I put 2 coats of Mod Podge. I don't generally like to hot glue things that I know I'm going to put in the sun, but sealing it with Mod Podge, I felt a little bit more secure about that. So I have bought this over-the-door hook at Dollar Tree, and I thought it was so cute. I wasn't sure what to do with it, but then I had this idea that I was going to hang this over my little hillbilly garden. I also thought this would be cute if you had like a gardening bench to hang this over, or a door. You could even make a sign if you wanted to put this over a door, and it's got the little hooks, or make it like a coat rack. I mean, you could just do several little things with this, and the possibilities are just absolutely endless with this idea. But I'm going to put this over my hillbilly garden. I took some florist wire and I ran it through the holes that were already existing that they had used for a hanger, and I just wired it in really good. And then I took the 2 holes that I had drilled in with my little Temu drill, which is so good, so cute, and it's USB port. I mean, amazing. And I just made sure it was wired in really good and snipped off all the raggedy edges with my little tin snips. It was just that easy. So I wanted to cover up all of that wire, and so I had some of this little twine, this kind of, it was in the nautical section, and it's white and the jute white and brown. I think it's beautiful, and I use it so much, and I just decided to wrap that around the edges. And since I didn't want to use hot glue on this, I just tied it really good in a knot on the back, and then just wrapped it until, just uneven wrapping to kind of give it that little rustic garden look. And then when I had all of my wire covered, then I just secured it really good with another really tight knot, and just tied it off, and as tight as I could. And I did that on the other end, and it covered up those holes in my florist wire just absolutely perfectly. And then I thought this was ready to hang. I put my little cute little children's gardening tools on this, and it hangs over my garden, and it is grown with love. I love it. I think it's adorable. So I apologize. I usually get much better pictures of my project, but by the time I get home, it's starting to get dark, and by the time I water, and now I've got vines growing up this swing set, and it's just a chaotic mess of vegetables and blooms. And like I said, this thing is producing like crazy, and I'm loving every minute of it. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so that you know when I've uploaded my next video. Give me a thumbs up, and I hope that you got some inspiration, and you could make one of these little signs. You could use this for even a crafting bench, and just to hang on the wall or over a door. The possibilities are endless. I just like to show you exactly what you could do if you just let your imagination go crazy. So thank you so much for watching Crafts Lost in Chaos, and I hope that you're enjoying your summer.